There we go. It moved
now it
anyway.
There it goes. It went on, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
And now go back to the YouTube part. And then,
There.
there.
Okay,
Now is it live now? Yeah, it
Yes.
says 15 seconds.
okay, thanks.
That should be good.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Good. All right. Welcome, everybody. We are live.
We are live.
All right, and everybody's things on. Okay, welcome everybody to our Travel and Tourism board meeting, our first board meeting for 2024. Roll call, please.
Jeremy Larson,
Here.
Dave,
Here.
Shannon. Here.
We're all here.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
All right, we have a quorum. So I'll just start off with a welcome. Thanks for everybody for showing up. This is our first full application, open application period. With that, I'd also like to welcome Shannon. She's our newest board member and fitting right in. Welcome. And then also send a welcome out to our newest hotel, Cobblestone. They just opened Monday. So they'll also be, as a hotel, be participating, and their $6 that comes in comes to us as well. So welcome to them. Wish them well. Let's see, an update on county travel and tourism. I've been sitting in their meetings. The county's still getting there. They have a 3-member board right now. They're needing to go to a 5-member, but they're getting things going. So they're still not falling behind. They're getting their bylaws together, their guidelines and their application together. They're hoping to be able to take applications, I believe, by summertime sometime. But they're on the roll, and they're looking to work with other community travel and tourism boards. So currently it's Alpine, Afton, Cokeville, and Kemmer. I believe that's everybody who has an official travel and tourism board. Star Valley Ranch and Thane, I believe, they're going to send it to the voters this year. So if that passes, then they will have. But the county has some applications, some thoughts, some projects that would involve everybody and maybe do some collaboration in the future. Financials, where do we stand currently?
$245,000.
That's correct. Awesome. So $245,000, $245,095.50 is what we have. For those that don't know, a large sum of that, $204,000-ish, was from the county, from back lodging tax dollars. And it's the board's kind of direction to, because we won't get that big of a one lump sum again. We'll still get our 1% split from the county in the future years, but we won't get that big a sum. So as the board, we're looking at long-term projects that are sustainable, because again, this board is a temporary board. We go back to the voters in 3 years, and the town of Alpine will decide whether or not they want to continue on with the lodging tax or not. And if they don't, then we'll have at least a little bit more money to spend before our time is up. Can I get a motion to accept financials?
Motion to accept financials?
Second,
I second.
if you believe
I
that.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye. All right. So I'll kind of go over the process with the applications. There'll be as many as 3 readings. There could be less, depending on the application. Tonight is essentially the first reading, and it's more of kind of a Q&A, make sure, one, and first and foremost, it meets state statute. The application meets state statute, otherwise we wouldn't be able to fund. And second, if there's just other kind of questions and answer period, maybe there's something that the board has that just needs more clarity on. But if everything goes through, then tonight we'll be passing on first reading, and then it will go to our May meeting, which will be our second reading. And in the May meeting, depending on how things go, we could pass it all and choose to fund at our May meeting, or if there's other things that need to be come back to us, then it would go to the third reading in our June meeting. And the June meeting would be our third and final reading. So if, say, an application is incomplete, and it does not get complete by our third reading, then it may or may not be denied. But it doesn't go beyond the third reading. Funding starts July 1. That's our fiscal year. So our fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th. So these applications are not only for just this summer, but they're for fall, they're for next winter, and for next spring. So it's helpful to kind of, what I've been telling people, plan accordingly. TU's here. It's for their film fest for next year, 2025, because we couldn't get them in for this year's 2024. Beyond that, that's pretty much, it's a straightforward-ish process. Again, these are all lodging tax dollars. It's all a 1% on top of the 5%. So all the monies that we gain are specifically from those lodging tax dollars. So be it Cobblestone, Bull Moose, Three Rivers, this RV park on the Saloon, or Airbnbs, they're supposed to be charging their patrons 6%. That 6% goes to the state. The state, this is where it gets fuzzy math, the state in our first year of collecting, which is now, automatically cuts 2% off the top for their overhead costs to manage the fund, so to speak. So say you have $100, they take $2 right off the bat, and then they divide that from there. So then they keep 3%, they send us right back 1%, that's what we voted on, and then they send the county, Lincoln County, 2%. Now, Lincoln County, in turn, receives that 2%. They split it in half for what was taken from Alpine, and they send us back essentially back 1%. So Lincoln County splits it, the state keeps it, and we keep our 1%. Hopefully that's clear as mud. Next year, when we're not in our first year of collecting, the state will no longer take 2% off the top, they take just 1% off the top. So then the process just repeats itself. So they keep 3%, we get 1%, county gets 2%, county then splits that 2% back to us 50-50. So essentially they keep 1, they send us back 1. Again, fuzzy math, clear as mud.
Can we ask a question?
Yeah, definitely.
So-
But
yeah.
if you could, please. So the folks at home, if there are folks at home watching,
Okay, Shay Scafidi. Okay, so real quick, the 1% that the county keeps, you said eventually we can apply for that money, but I wanted to find out, or they're just holding on to it, or can we apply?
you can apply. So, and that's what I say, right now the county has put together a 3-member board.
Okay.
They do need to have a 5-member board.
Okay.
But they are currently, they just passed their bylaws. They're working on their guidelines and application.
Okay.
They're hoping to have that done midsummer.
Okay.
I don't know yet how they're going to, if they're going to meet quarterly, if they're going to meet similar to us where it's in the spring for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
Because I know that they, or at least supposedly they do plan to be on the county's fiscal year, just like we are on the town's fiscal year.
Okay, and then I guess the question is, and this is for
Yep.
county, so I'm just gonna
No,
put it
go
on the
ahead.
record. So then, who can apply to the county? Is it only, can it be any nonprofit group? It could
Anybody
be
can-
anyone?
Yep, anybody
Okay.
can apply to the county.
Okay.
Now,
It just has to follow what the tourism,
it has to, obviously, it has to
Dynamic.
follow state statute.
Yep.
But then it also has to work with the county's guidelines that they're writing right now. So our last meeting, which was a week ago think a week ago Thursday. I know that they're putting preference on county events
Okay.
as opposed to town events. However, with that said, I know their first two applications are going to be one from Kimmer and one from Star Valley Ranch. Well, technically this year Star Valley Ranch is
Yeah, will become
county.
their own.
Yeah.
And then the last question, how long did it take them to gather 204,000 for us? Do we know?
I'm guessing, and this is a complete
Yeah.
guess, that I know of 3 years, if not 5.
I was gonna say, I just wondered, just because, just seeing some of the ticket items of
Yeah.
just how long would it take to
And
recruit.
this was true with every municipality in the county. So every municipality,
Yeah.
the county was holding it on, and they had.
Now they have to
earmarked
release it.
For each municipality, what they were gonna get.
Okay.
And so it wasn't just us.
All right.
Thanks, Shay. Okay, so let's get on, well, it's first action items. So we had, our previous meeting was back in October. Shannon, you were not here for that. Were you able to read October's minutes? Mm-hmm. Okay, any questions, thoughts, concerns?
No.
Would you like to make a motion for approval of minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
And then I'll have to second it, because you weren't here.
All in favor?
You and I. Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, let's get on with first application, the music series. I don't see anybody from the Arts Council here. I'll reach out to them, and, because I have questions on a couple items, and ask them to come for our May meeting. But we can still discuss it. Yeah, so they have 2 applications in. First application is, let me bring it up here. No, that's not on the Arts Council, that'll be on behalf of the town of Alpine.
So you're discussing the last 2?
On my sheet, motion, read application.
Wait.
Oh, no, my bad. Sorry, I just saw music series and I thought it was their music, so yes. Yes, that is you, right off the bat.
Right here.
I was a little confused there. I was like,
Andrea, oh, no,
Shay.
Shay.
I mean, I'm here, but you guys tell me.
Shay, please present.
yeah, so, yeah.
Andrea's just, I mean, come on. Yes, Shay Scafidi again. Okay, so as far as music, I have emailed sound techs, sound equipment, and at this point, I've got 3 bands that are committing. I emailed, I don't know, 6 or 7 bands about a month ago. So really, everyone's just starting to dial in what their summer looks like. First farmers market is June 27th, and then I think it goes through early September. So we're just trying to figure out when bands can play, and then I will have a full list of what's possible. I do have to talk to a few sponsorships, so we are still working on outside monies to come in. So whatever we can, not take from the tourism board, we won't take. This isn't just to spend it. I just feel like if we can get to 6 bands, and then on opposite weeks, we were hoping for karaoke or DJ at a much lower rate to kind of fill in the gap and just keep community hanging out every week at farmers market. That is the goal. So at the end of the day, I do have a budget, I think, in there, but I will keep that updated when I do get a sponsorship or I do get more dynamics as far as final pricing from different vendors. And I know most of the bands are giving us a community rate versus what they charge at the Ward or, up in Jackson. So that's been good. And I don't want to, no offense, I don't want to bleed them dry, but I do appreciate that we just can't pay those rates yet. We're not at that level. And then once I have dates, I hope to chat with Melvin or the tavern as far as who could supply beverages. And then I know the food trucks from last summer will hopefully just come back. So I think we're in good shape. My main goal is that I have a poster ready by May 1 is really what I'd love to shoot for, so that way the word gets out, and then sponsors also know what the dynamic is going on.
Awesome. That also reminds me, just your comments. So what we'll be doing is reimbursements, the grant.
Oh, yeah.
It's not here's a check for $10,000.
Yeah, exactly.
You send us the invoice and then we reimburse. So that goes across the board with everybody.
Yes,
Yep.
that will be the dynamic.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, questions?
Oh, I will.
Mayor?
Do you mind?
Not at all.
Hey, Eric Green. I would say this event in particular was a huge success, in my opinion, last year, and I think a lot of people in town share that sentiment. It was just one of those places where bring community together, sit and listen to some good music, and see your neighbors instead of just at the post office, every other week. So I think this was a huge opportunity to keep the ball rolling and grow this year after year. So I would definitely encourage you to vote in favor of this. So thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of someone who's gone to Music on Main and Victor, at least a couple of shows during the summer for the past, I don't know how many years, it truly can have an impact. And I was only able to make one show last year, but it was well attended. It was awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions?
No, just so everybody knows, this is probably the event that I need to recuse myself from, just because I have some involvement in the event. So obviously I support the event, but I'm going to recuse myself from voting on this particular matter.
Okay. Anybody else from the audience? All right. Can I get a motion to approve Town of Alpine's Music on the Mountains application for up to $16,000 on first reading?
Motion to approve?
Say so moved.
I say what?
So moved.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right. Congrats. One step. First
And it
step.
begins.
Okay, let's see. Next application, we have Town of Alpine. Welcome signs.
Hi there.
Mr. Mayor.
Eric Green again. So the idea for these signs was basically just to kind of give a facelift to the signs that we have currently. And we actually want to have kind of a newer, more extensive sign in 3 locations instead of the 2 locations. The 3 locations would be somewhere near the entrance into town on this side of town, one coming in from the Bananas side of town or coming in from Idaho Falls, and then another one coming out of the canyon. So we have a lot of different options. We've come up with a few that I think are appealing, but we would really like to have something that's substantial that we think will last, for the next 50 years or whatever. So it's unlikely to be just a piece of plywood with some poles holding it up. The things that we've been looking at is either a stone base or some pretty substantial wood posts with a sign in between that says something to the effect, welcome to Alpine, and I don't know what the rest of it says, but, the year that the town was founded, so to speak, or established, like early 1900s or whatever, not necessarily 1989. But this also, we were hoping to, whatever design we come up with, is use basically community members to donate time and hopefully materials to get this project completed as well. So the request for $48,000 is really a $60,000 total because the town will be matching 20%, but we're also going to put the word out there to try to get as much help as we can from the community. So I don't think these 3 will probably in the long run, cost more than $20,000 each, but I think we can get the cost down with that kind of help from the community. So, any questions?
One of the requirements for funding,
Yep.
be it an event or a project, is when it's advertised to have the Alpine Travel and Tourism logo.
Mm.
Is it possible to have, like, literally that big?
So would it be like, yeah, the bottom corner or
Bottom
something?
corner?
Yeah, why not?
You know,
Yeah.
funded by Alpine Travel and Tourism dollars?
Of course.
Just to kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
is that, I don't want that to be a deal breaker, but
No, I think that's,
stick to our rules.
I love to have that. And do we actually have a logo that says like Alpine?
That is on the agenda tonight.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, I think a corner or, some location, I think that's
Yeah,
very
nothing-
doable.
nothing like,
Yeah.
literally a badge, just
No,
to
they-
show that your tax dollars are doing something.
Totally agree. I think all the projects should have that, definitely. So around town, hopefully we start to see all these little splashes of the Alpine Tourism Board on it, but.
And you were looking for like donation dollars from the community to kind of support some of it?
I mean, some donation dollars may come in, but I think it's really, for example, if we decide to go with the stone route, we would look for a mason, somebody to really either get the stone at cost or help us with the install. If we go with the posts, more of the posts, we find a contractor that's used to installing those sort of things and utilize them. I don't know exactly how much money that will save, but hopefully we can come under budget and we don't end up using all those dollars as well. So,
Any other questions?
we haven't done any bids per se. What we've done is staff has gone and come up with a few different design options, and they're kind of a simplistic design compared to what we want, but we thought that would be nice to come up with some general pricing. So if we get approved for that, then we will actually put out bids for design and completion of the project, and then we'll work backwards from there. So
Good, that's up on that. Sorry. Just so the kids at home can hear.
Thank you,
So
Eric.
I understand, excuse me, your point about wanting the advertising and doing the logo for the tourism board, but if the sign's lifespan is 50 years, and in 3 years, I heard you say earlier, this board may not exist anymore, do we want a tourism board logo on for the next 50 years if it's not viable anymore?
I do.
Is it removable?
It can be removable. Like, literally, I see, it shows it in our guidelines and our bylaws that.
Right, oh, and I get that. Yeah.
So, yeah, literally, I see a badge at most this big.
Okay.
And just tacked into that way. And if we're no longer here in 50 years or in 5 years, you just.
Right. No, I'm just curious, because it would cause more confusion than anything if you didn't exist, so.
So get out the vote in 3 years.
I would say,
Keep us alive.
on the tail end of that, I think it does say a lot if it does say Alpine Tourism Board in 50 years, even if the board's not here, it says these tax dollars went to do this. So I think it's kind of a badge of honor in my opinion, but that's just my opinion, so.
Well, thank you for everybody's comments.
Yeah. Anybody else? Shannon?
No, I don't have any questions.
Can I get a motion to approve on first reading for Town of Alpine's application request for welcome signs in the amount of $48,000?
Motion to approve first reading for new Town of Alpine welcome signs at the amount of $48,000.
Up to 48.
Up to $48,000.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
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 All right, motion passes. All right, moving along, Town of Alpine request for Information Center sponsored staffing for the Information Center, Visitor Center, in the amount of $48,000. Does anybody want to speak on that?
Yes, I can talk to that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, thank you very much. Eric Green, Town of Alpine. So This is a position that was started by the town of Alpine in the previous administration, and I have to admit, it does serve a purpose, and I saw it firsthand last summer when we decided to bring Dawn over to this building, and she was trying to help us with some of the administrative duties that we had in the town. We are essentially trying to justify, bring as many people together as we could here in this office. And I will say that in the middle of the summer, a lot of people were coming in, and thank goodness she was here, because it does take away from other duties. For example, when she wasn't here, I just happened to be here a couple times, and people come in and doing the whole, Chamber of Commerce thing. And so I think it's needed, and everyone loves Dawn. She has all the information in the world. It's better that it's over there, in my opinion. That's where people are used to it being. And it kind of, not that we wouldn't encourage people to come and say hi, but it keeps us doing our daily operations. She's also able over there to do some of the bookings. She's doing all the bookings for the Civic Center and things of that nature. So it's kind of one-stop shop. People know if you're going to use that building, if you're going to get information on the town of Alpine and what's going on around the town of Alpine, she's the person to do it in over there. We do have some numbers as far as the number of people that came in, and this is literally people had to sign in. So these are not necessarily anecdotal. These are actual numbers of people that came in. But in November, 91 people came in. December, 39 people came in. And in January, 18 people came in, and 25 in February. So those numbers in the summer, we didn't keep track last year, but it was quite a bit. So she also sells all of the tree permits, fishing license, anything that is allowed from the Forest Service or any of the local agencies. We try to sell it. We don't make money on it. The town of Alpine gets $1 per license or something like that we sell. So it's not a big money maker. It's basically a service to the community. So I think it's needed. If we didn't have this, then potentially that position goes away, because it is a strain on the town of Alpine. So I think it would be a real loss if we did not have that position. So, any questions?
I do. How has this been funded in the past?
It's directly from the town of Alpine. I mean, like I said, it brings in very little income. $1 a license or whatever, it does not even come close. So, yeah.
And then this has not been budgeted for the town this year, and that, or?
So we're going through the budget process right now. It takes 3 readings. And to be honest, we don't have it in the budget for next year. So in basically July 1st, that would go away if we weren't able to get this funding. So
When the Civic Center gets booked out, the funds for that booking, that doesn't go towards her payroll or anything? Does that go into a separate?
General fund.
So
Okay.
now it does, yes. All the income that brings in, it goes into the general fund, and it helps pay for electricity, basically her salary, or not salary, but her wages and all that
Everything
thing.
to do with that building?
Exactly. So
Would you?
that's why I think also the 20% match is kind of, the town of Alpine doing their part in paying that 20%. Obviously, her salary isn't $60,000. So, but that's kind of what we've calculated it costs to keep that operation up and going over there.
And do you find it? Do you know if it's busier during the off season there? Because I noticed in November you had 91, and then when the season kind of hits, it kind of tapers down a little. But I'm sure in summer these numbers are probably a lot different.
Yeah. I would suspect that in the summer it's triple of what we had in November, sort of thing. I mean, she could have a couple hundred people coming in for sure. There has been some talk of selling T-shirts and hats as well. So I haven't necessarily figured out like what happens with that income, but I think that would be something that we just want to have something for people to take away from the town of Alpine when they come here and have a great time. So, but we haven't really, I think that the t-shirt sales, sweatshirt sales, that will essentially just go into the general fund and be one more thing that we can try to pay for the lights at the Civic Center.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been my understanding that going forward, part of our main role to be funded through this is to keep numbers as people are coming in, to guide people who are coming in to Alpine businesses, Alpine hotels, restaurants, and then also be that information service of where to hike, where to fish, and kind of be that welcoming face really to the town of Alpine for visitors.
That's absolutely right. And there was an idea that came up today that we were discussing back and forth, like when someone comes in and let's just say there's some great hiking opportunity or whatever, you know, on the map, we put up QR codes. If there's a business, like someone says, where's the best place to get pizza, whatever, and there's a QR code right on the map, so they could actually, it shows a QR code that shows them how to get there or whatever. So I think we can really support the local businesses that way for sure. And like I said, I think it's kind of like our own little chamber of commerce because Don goes above and beyond trying to push people to go to, you know, different businesses, so.
And I know of several instances where Don has steered visitors away from Jackson and had them stay here. Where they were like, oh yeah, I got this and I'm paying, you know, $500. Oh, well, let's see if they've got a room. And you want to go fish, you can go right up here. And then also a little backstory, the whole idea for the travel and tourism. So in the beginning, with the visitor center, with Don, is it first was funded through a grant from the Forest Service. And the Forest came to the town, said, you know, hey, we have this grant, we'd like to hire somebody. Can you have a space of a visitor center, a welcome center, to give people information? We can sell the forest maps and whatnot. That grant maybe lasted 2 years, maybe. But it was a hit here, and so as a town, we wanted to continue it on. At first, we continued it seasonally, and she started to get busier, and also with Christmas tree permits, other area businesses not wanting to sell licenses or trail stickers, just because there's a lot, as a private enterprise, that you have to go through to get those stickers and those licenses. The way they help your bottom line is they're somebody in your store, and hopefully they'll buy something else, because that private business doesn't make any money off of the licensing or the trail stickers. So kept it going, but it was hit and miss. Every year it was a budget year. It was like, well, can we afford it? Is it worth it? So that's when let's look at having, you know, a tourism, because Teton County, their travel and tourism essentially working by giving Friends of the BT $1 million+ grant, not only to help with their ambassador program, but also help with their visitor program as well. So we kind of took a note off of that and went, hey, let's try and get something like that here. And that was kind of the incubator of this board today. Okay. Not to say, I'm saying you guys have to approve it, but that's the history of it. I've seen it do good things. Everybody here seems to do good things, but anybody else?
So I heard you say that after next year, it's not going to be funded anymore. And if the numbers have gone down in December, January, February, presumably March, is she busy 40 hours a week for 52 weeks a year? Because can you stretch the budget and have her go? I mean, so many places around here close for hunting season, for, you know, month of April, month of November, month of whatever. And I mean, Melvin's one of them. And is there any way you can have her go part-time for a period of months even at a time, so you could stretch it for a year and a half or so to make the funding go farther?
Is that a question to me?
Well, you mentioned it, so yes, I guess so.
I think that this is going to be a year after year line item, and we're going to keep applying. If we don't get this year, we'll apply again next year. It'll just be year after year. As far as stretching the dollars, that's definitely something that we're conscientious of. If, for whatever reason, we think that maybe we need to take a month off here on the shoulder season or something like that, I think that's definitely something that we'll have to look at. Also taking direction from the tourism board if they have any comments on, the price or whatever, we would have to take their lead on that. But I mean, it's a good question. We're flexible on that. We actually, now that we're writing down who's shown up and have numbers, we kind of have this now empirical data that we can go back to that they really want and we want as well to justify the position. So it's going to take us a little time to have 12 months of data and hopefully years after year of data, and people keep coming back or whatever. But yeah, it's a good question, definitely.
So one of the things, and I'm kind of in the same vein, what makes me nervous on this really is that this is 20% of your budget of 240,000, but that took 3 to 5 years to get to. So I feel like if this becomes the norm, that's your entire tourism board dollars just gone every single year. And I'm not sure the value to dollar is there, and I adore Dawn too, so I don't want this to come off that way. But I think the thing that concerns me is, one, I think some of those numbers, and I would love to look at her sign-in sheet, like, are those food bank people? Are those people just coming to use the Civic Center? I think that's different than a tourism person coming in the door. So one, I think that's it. And then two, one of the things is, I also think we need to know, what does the Civic Center bring in annually? I think there's a large portion that's free. So I don't know if that will offset enough of this dynamic. But kind of back to two as well, I think we've realized there are certain moments that are busy, and then I think there are certain moments that this should probably be half. And that's on a good day. I would rather see dollars go to creating QR codes and kind of jumping into the 21st century, because I don't go to a town and pick up paper. I go to a town and I look up everything online. And so I guess I kind of feel like if QR codes were in the window, that's half of it. And I don't want to lose that human touch. I know that that is part of, we don't want to become robotic, but I just am so concerned that 48,000 a year, I mean, again, 20% of this budget alone, but next year it would be 100% of your budget if we get 48,000 in the door from the 1%. So that's kind of my take. And the only other thing, and I know you mentioned licenses, like I do think of the Chevron is where we don't want to, I guess, compete with private. And so I feel like they sell T-shirts and hats. They sell fishing licenses. So it's like, could summer be the busy time? And then in the winter, maybe the Chevron would do the tree permits, but then it would give us time to kind of, I don't know, breathe monetarily. But
Thank you.
And then just to follow up that, Shay, so we got 204,000 from the county as back, but each year we'll still be bringing in funds. So this year it's looking probably in the neighborhood of 50,000, and then next year with Cobblestone, we'll be online. We'll have a full year of Cobblestone online, and we'll still be getting that 1% from the county. So I'm guessing we'll be in the neighborhood of 75 to 80. Still, yes, 48,000 in next year is still a chunk, but just so everybody understands that it will still have money coming in. Anybody else? Thoughts, discussions?
I have some thoughts. I'm a business owner in town, so this is the kind of thing that I like. Obviously having people directed towards my business and other businesses in town, and keep people in Alpine and have that one-on-one person communication. And I think there's definitely benefits to this, but the utilization is a little concerning. How many people are walking in there and talking to them, and you know, if in January of 2024, 18 people came in, you know, it's not even one person a day, so, you know, with the cost and that, you know, that's a concern of mine, but, I do like programs like this. Does Alpine, you know, need this? Yes. Does it need it now? I don't know, you know, so, I think as this community grows, this is gonna be something, it's gonna be needed, but I just don't know if the utilization is there. And maybe there's something where, you know, we do open it just for the main part of the seasons, or maybe just in summertime, or something like that. It's obviously hard to retain staff like Dawn or whoever when you've got, you know, you can't provide all year-round employment, so that's always got to be a factor when people try to do this type of thing. But anyway, that's my comments.
I would like to see the building itself be utilized more. I think there's a revenue that could be had there that's not being tapped into yet, honestly.
Okay.
So for our board, you know, we don't, it's not up to us to figure out the schedule, that's up to the town to, I won't say Dawn, to the employee's schedule, that's up to the town, it's up to our board to figure out our budget in our amount. Is this amount gonna work with our budget this year? Are we comfortable, presenting, or, gifting this much money for this specific application, this year? What we can do is, that's why we have 3 readings. We can pass it on first reading with follow-up, to these questions. Like, is a 6-month thing more realistic? Is a 9-month thing more realistic? Or is an annual thing doable?
Yeah.
So we have this flexibility that we can work with while we have 3 readings.
I mean, I'd be interested in, you know, seeing what the proposed cost of the project would be maybe for this summer, and kind of get some utilization numbers over the summer and kind of reevaluate, you know, how this summer went.
Yeah.
Before we would approve, you know, funding for the rest of the year or something like that.
When we can pass on first reading, still up to the 48,000, but in contingency for second reading, have maybe a plan B, plan C of a 6-month or a 9-month. Like what does that, what figure can you get for, say, 30,000 or say 25,000? Is that comfortable to you guys?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. Then can I get a motion to pass on first reading, Town of Alpine's application request for the visitor center in the amount of up to 48,000?
Motion to pass Town of Alpine's proposal for visitor center staffing for the amount of $48,000.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So just that, when, I can talk to Monica when she gets
Yeah,
that.
I think if you guys just ask for like a recommendation or however your process is, just come back and say, you know, like you said, a 6-month, a 9-month version of what it would look like and how much those costs would be. I think that's totally reasonable. And we can actually give you the sign-in book at the next meeting so you guys can look at it and see who, because it literally says their name and where they're from.
Yep.
So,
Cool.
Perfect, thank you.
Eric.
Okay. Next, we have Town of Alpine, application for Winter Jubilee, requested amount of $8,000.
Andrea Burchard, Town of Alpine. So Winter Jubilee is a annual event. We have it in January. This year was our 11th year hosting it. It's kind of a dual event where we have some activities to get the community members out in the winter and in seeing each other and enjoying some things. And then we also raise funds for the Alpine Scholarship Fund for the graduating seniors. So we're asking for funds to help cover the cost of the snow sculptures, which we didn't do this year for various reasons, and they were greatly missed. The process has changed over the last couple of years, how those happen, and it's kind of complicated. And the Star Valley Arts Council has approached us, and they're interested in helping and bringing in some artists to help sculpt. And, we kind of have to figure out how to get the boxes built. But it's something that the community really, really enjoys and missed a lot this year, so we're hoping to bring it back next year. The second part of what we're asking for is fire dancers, which we historically have done fireworks, but that is very expensive. And when we're trying to raise funds for scholarships, dropping thousands of dollars on fireworks just doesn't really make sense. So we kind of came up with a alternative plan. Over in Lava, there's a group that does fire dancing. And so we thought it would be kind of fun to have them come over and do a presentation maybe after the parade, because we have the hot dog roast on Friday night and then the parade, and then we would do the fireworks. And again, people are very disappointed that the fireworks have gone away. So we thought this might be a good alternative.
With the right dollar donation, will they allow you to light them on fire?
Oh, you'll have to ask them. But the group is really nice. They are local, local to Lava, which is, yeah, it's a great thing. And they were very interested in coming over. And they kind of have some flexibility in how many dancers they bring and, what they can do with their show.
I'm sorry, I don't have that packet. What was the amount requested?
8,000.
Okay.
With a match, it'll be a total cost of 10,000. They're asking for 8 and we'll match 2.
Gotcha.
So 20% match.
And both of these activities, like working with the Arts Council on the snow sculptures and doing the fire dancers, this is kind of our first year for both, or next year would be, to kind of dial it in. We have some actual quotes from the fire dancers, but we'll.
Where do you
kind
want
of
to do the fire dancers at?
What's that?
Where do you want to do the fire dancers?
At the Civic Center,
Okay.
out by the gazebo. We have the sidewalks that
Okay,
are
cool.
cleared so they could kind of line up around the area and do
Are
their
there
show.
any estimates of how many tourists may get brought in by Winter Jubilee, or is there any way to estimate that? I don't know.
I don't know that there would be. It's January. If the snow is good, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah,
And then, if the snow's bad,
yeah.
but
Like this year?
it is, yeah, this is more community geared, but of course, anyone that's here enjoys it as well. And, with Casino Night, which is how we raise the funds for the scholarships, we promote it as much as we can, to anybody that's here, to come and enjoy and have a good time.
How much did you raise this year for the scholarship?
I think we raised like $7,000. We had a really good year.
Are those like local donors that do that and stuff? Or?
Yeah, so most of it comes from Casino Night itself. And I think we raised like 5,000 at Casino Night. And then we had, Wyoming Title and Escrow donated 1,000, and one of the realtors donated 1,000.
Where do you advertise for Winter Jubilee?
We do flyers around town. We do a lot of Facebook posts through the town, through different various other Facebook pages. And we put it in Buck Rail this year, didn't we? Yeah, we usually put it in Buck Rail to try and get the people from Jackson to come down.
Would the town have the capacity, if the board decided to throw in, say, another $1,000 specific to advertising? Because that's a big part of state statute is a lot should ideally go to advertising to do, I don't know, maybe a weekend getaway campaign in IF and see
Oh, yeah,
how,
that's a great idea.
how successful that is.
Yeah. No, I
I'm
like
just
that a
speaking
lot.
for myself.
No, that's-
Not the board.
That's a
No,
great
I
idea.
mean, that would be ideal, is to get people from out of town to.
Well, and if we bring the
experience that
fire
and
dancers, then maybe some people from Lava would come over. Maybe they could advertise, use their routes of advertising and get some people to come too, that way.
You do some sponsored regional like Facebook posts too.
Mhm.
It costs a little bit of money, but gets the region,
I know I'd like to see more people, cheer us on in the light parade.
Well, yes, we have some plans for that as well. Try and beef that up a little bit. ATAP always does well in the competition.
We try. Any other questions, thoughts?
No, thank you.
Then, how about a motion to approve on first reading, Town of Alpine's grant application for Winter Jubilee sponsorship for the requested amount of $8,000 with the possibility of additional $1,000 to go to specific advertising within our region for the event.
Motion, then?
So moved.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I was gonna let you take this
Yeah,
one.
no, I'm gonna write that one down.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, last but not least, oh no, that is last for, is that last for Town of Alpine?
I think that's the last for Town of Alpine.
I thought you had 5 applications.
No, just 4.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Thank you, Town of Alpine. Next application is from Alpine Trails and Pathways, and I will be recusing myself from this. Aaron?
So I'm Aaron with Alpine Trails and Pathways, and we're excited to have this application in and ask for this money to help us with grooming of the trails down in the lake bottoms down in Alpine. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the cross-country ski trails down there and the funds that it takes to keep that going. We roughly spend, anywhere from $11,000 to $13,000 a year. We budget $10,000 a year to fund the grooming company to come in. They're called Bouchon, and they come twice a week for us. Everybody and their dog is literally down there, I would have to say, And so it's a huge community thing, but also, just from my experience, it's like we have people come in, they're not doing anything in town. It's like, hey, go grab cross-country skis and go down there and go run with your friends down there. And so we see people coming in, and we push people that way. We push people from other communities that way. It's drawing in just locally in our community. We have people from Jackson come and check it out and stuff like that. So what it kind of boils down to for us is we fund that through, we raise funds to pay for that out of our organization. And what we find is there's not a lot of money left at the end of the year to tackle the other things that we would like to do as Alpine Trails and Pathways. Some of those other things that are just making trails user-friendly for us. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody drive a snowmobile across the Snake River Bridge, and if you've seen the whoops in that, but there isn't anybody maintaining that. And so we see a problem there. And so we're like, okay, there's a problem there. There's a new trail that's on the side of the Grays River Road heading up to the Grays River parking lot. So it's between, Ace and Grays. Another whooped out. Nobody's maintaining that. There isn't anybody running on that. So we're like, okay, if there's an opportunity for us to take some funds, pay Bouchon so that we can reallocate some of our money, time, and effort into equipment, volunteer base, donation base, and then we'd narrow in, get the equipment, and work on grooming out some of those rough spots so that our snowmobilers are coming and they're enjoying that, and our locals then also get to enjoy it. So that's kind of the idea for us behind applying for some of this grant money. So that's where we're at with it, and I'm open to questions if there's anything out there.
Thank you.
So the trails that I'm talking about are if you drive down Old Alpine Road past your guys' neighborhood, and you keep going all the way to the end, and it just turns into the lake bottoms, basically. It's the old Alpine highway. And we set up a course out there, and we groom around and do a few things out there, and it's a big groomer that comes in. So we have a really nice, very professional groomer that comes in. If you go up to Star Valley Ranch, they have volunteers down in Star Valley Ranch that they're dragging, drags with their snowmobiles, and they're really excited about it, but their trails aren't quite as what our trails are here. I would love to see them get better trails, and there's a lot of users there, but a lot of those other users are coming down and using our trails for the cross-country skiing.
Public comment?
Thanks, Aaron. Are you going to comment?
Yeah, I'd love to make a comment. Eric Green. I will say, I'm actually surprised that they didn't ask for more money, because to me, this is huge opportunity. Just going to the parking lot, you see people from Idaho, you see Teton County license plates. They also do the Coney Island Classic down there in February, whatever, which raises funds. And people love those groomed ski trails. And personally, I think that the town of Alpine, along with the tourism board, should figure out a way to fund getting our own piece of equipment to do this stuff. And eventually, then we only have to pay for the maintenance on our own equipment or whatever. But I'm sure you guys have thought about that. I don't know what the numbers are, but maybe there's a grant, maybe there's, something where it might cost, $50,000, $75,000 or whatever, but it's a piece of equipment that the town owns and we can take care of this stuff. And then ATAP is in charge of just finding the manpower to run it. That would be my goal. To talk about like the whoops over the bridge and all that stuff. It's a major concern because there's been lots of accidents. People have gotten hurt on there. And there's actually been last year, we just took the Jersey barrier down yesterday and today. But there was actually, when we first put it up, there was a car that had, I don't know how they did it, but they ended up on top of the snowbank, on top of over the Jersey barrier. So it's a major concern. And so I think we're meeting with YDOT to try to come up with a solution that maybe doesn't involve the Jersey barrier, but there's still snow over there. So it would make it even more important to get a thigh call or something that could just help snowmobilers, and it could be for skiers or whatever to get over the bridge. Same thing with going up the Grays. The town of Alpine is paid to get that kind of put in place, but it costs a ton of money to keep it groomed, because we don't have the piece of equipment to do it. We actually hire out for them to take the tops off all the whoops. So it costs a lot of money. So if I could give a recommendation, and I know you guys are willing to listen to people and their thoughts, I think this is a huge addition to the tourism, and it provides such a great service for everyone in the winter. Seems like they're using those cross-country trails just to get their dogs out. I would suggest maybe even on second reading asking them to look at, maybe they need to ask for more money. That would just be my recommendation.
I'll just officially put in a historical perspective and fill in a few gaps. So the trails on the lake bed, we first started out as Alpine Cross Country Ski Association in 2012. And with that, in 2012, the folks who started that up were able to get a grant through Wyoming Outdoor Recreation. At that time, they purchased an Argo and a groomer, and the grant was able to give them to pay folks to groom. That grant, that organization, Alpine Cross Country Ski Association, was a nonprofit, but it was not a 501c3. The state then, a year or two later, changed their rules for the grant where you had to be a 501c3. So essentially, they were not able to fund that any longer. So the owner and the first board member, the originator of it, he decided to sell the Argo or trade the Argo and the groomer to Dave Jenkins. And then they asked for volunteers, if anybody wanted to volunteer groom. That's where I came in and said, I believe in trails. I believe they bring in a community. I'm happy to do it. So for the next several years, myself and another groomed with the Argo and with the groomer. The Argo, unfortunately, there was only one mechanic within the region. He moved away. So it was me calling up South Dakota to a very helpful South Dakota shop. But still, I am no mechanic and trying to figure stuff out. We decided to sell the Argo, or asked Dave, yeah, we don't want it. You go ahead and sell it. But we will purchase the groomer, which we did. And then we ordered a side-by-side from Salt River Motors. So we had a Polaris Ranger side-by-side, and that's what I had groomed with when that finally came in. The downside to the Ranger was it's heavy, and especially when you put a track on those. there's not enough weight on the groomer. So you'd have this nice groom of corduroy and then these two tracks going through. So basically, I'd have to start out, and if it snowed, I definitely had to start out, make 3 laps with the side-by-side, packing it all down, then load up the groomer, then make another couple of laps. So it was time-consuming, inefficient, and both myself and the other groomer were just burnt out. And then Bouchon had a day available, and so then I started bringing Bouchon down for 1 day a week. They'd come down on Wednesdays, and then we'd clean up on the weekends, and if we could. And then 3 years ago, Bouchon was able to get us in twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I was like, sweet. So with Wednesdays and Saturdays, they have a full piston bully that sets down a track and corduroy, and they can compress the snow to really put in a really good groom, and a good groom that'll last. Like last year, we had the longest grooming season out of anybody in our region. We were grooming to the second, third week in April. So as long as I have the money and they have a driver, they're happy to come down. This year, unfortunately, they had a mechanical, which ended it, but that has been a lifeline. And so as an organization, we've since sold the side-by-side, and we'll back up a few more years. I purchased a sled specific to grooming with the intent of, okay, I'll buy it, I'll use it for grooming, but when the organization has enough funds, then they'll purchase the sled back from me. So last year we sold the side-by-side. The organization purchased my sled, which was only used for grooming, back. So now the organization has a sled, but we still have our old groomer, which I'm hoping to sell very shortly. And I'm looking at a new groomer that's more compact. It's more efficient. I can take it on trailers. I can take it all around if I need be. I was planning on doing several applications for this board. However, state statute isn't too clear on whether or not you can purchase equipment. It's a little more not clear, or I should say not in favor of it, than it is leasing or hiring out. So instead of doing piecemeal with different projects, I just did it all in one for the grooming. That way it frees up funds for our organization to purchase a couple other implements that we hope to use on the grays to kind of maintain the whoops, to at least break them down, because you're still doing it on a snowmobile. But I've seen these work really well. Also, as comparison, so I budget in $10,000 plus a year for grooming. If you think that's a lot, TV Tap and Victor Driggs, they did a capital campaign last year to purchase a groomer. If you're going to purchase a groomer, you also need to purchase a trailer to travel that groomer, and then you also need to purchase a truck to pull the trailer and the groomer, and then all the maintenance that goes through with that. Their capital campaign was for $500,000. And again, that's just to purchase the equipment, not to maintain it. So $10,000 annually right now is pretty cheap for twice a week, and they do a great job, and I have a great relationship with them.
How many miles of trails is about on the
Yep, so it varies year to year. I have to go off the lake bed. When we first started out, we had 15K, but that was during the old administration for BOR, where they believed in dumping it all in the wintertime, keeping it dumped in the wintertime. 7 years ago, they had a change in administration and a change in philosophy, where they like to keep it back up in the wintertime. So we lost like 70% of our trail. In fact, they were keeping it up to the 95% level, where I actually had to go on the southwest side of the old highway and literally just kind of finger it in along, because as the lake rises, it doesn't rise equally, it rises with little fingers. So I was literally kind of grooming in to get these little fingers and still keep something. Currently, for the past 2 years, they've kept it below 80%, which has allowed me to, we have a warming hut on the other side of the landing strip, the runway. So it allows me to get out to our warming hut. It allows me then to shoot out to Alpine campground and then kind of follow the path in. And so right now I have around 4.5, 5K, which little over 3 miles, which really for what we have, I advertise this as it's a true community track. If you look on our website, I say it on our website, if you're looking to sport your spandex and really get a time on, this is not the place for you. Our biggest users are dog people. That's the mayor talked about the Coney Classic. That's a fundraiser in partnership with Lucky's. So we split the donations, the proceeds, thank you, 50-50. This year was our biggest year yet. We had expenses of, I think, just under $1,000, and with everybody's donation and everything, we brought in about $10,000. So that's been growing and growing. We also, I have a 30-inch wide roller that I do around the benches of the Grays, from the bridge around the bench of the Grays, up the Grays to what they refer to as Little Jenny Lake. Depending on what map you're looking at, Little Jenny Lake, Mill Creek. If you're talking to someone who's been here a while, Mill Hollow. If you're talking to someone who's had an accident there, it's called Toe Canyon. So it's go by many names, but I go up to there when I can. That's for anybody and everybody. It's a full, it's motorized, non-motorized. But for the most people who aren't on motorized that are using it, it's walkers, dog walkers, snowshoers, and skiers.
I was going to add one more thing, that it's really fun. They have a lot of women's skis in the winter.
Yep.
Which is really a great community to
Yeah.
people together.
Absolutely.
Can I also ask you, have we ever considered talking to the BOR or something like that and having a shed maybe by the goat dock, where we have like the search and rescue has, and then from there, it'd actually be kind of nice just to go along the lake out to that area and come back, and then you could go do the rest. I don't know.
I mean, so it would be the thing with the BORs. It's managed by Palisades Ranger District. So anything like our permit falls under the Palisades Ranger District, Forest Service. Where search and rescue shed is, it's BOR, but I think it's also, they have an MOU with the county and BOR, so it might be a double ask. However, for our purposes, I don't know how helpful it'd be. If anything, it's the county started plowing that road this year or last year. I think it was this year they first started plowing it, and that was like, that didn't help me out because now I got to go over a road and out. But I hadn't thought about that. I'll think about that.
Owner of the rugby field, see if they.
I don't know who the new one is because it's in my tenure. It's sold at least 4 times, and it was just up for sale last fall, I believe. I'd love to know. Like we always joke, hey, if the owner of the rugby pitch, wants to allow us in the barn, and because that's where it'd be great to have the Coney out of the elements in the barn, that'd be fantastic.
Which is thinking, I think the long-term goal for them is to build like a kind of a resort sort of thing. So that'd be amazing. But yeah, food for thought. Anyways.
Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Go for it.
Sue Colbus, Alpine. I ski out there all the time, morning, noon, evenings on a full moon. It's the most magical thing I've ever done. I told my boyfriend I want to drop dead that way on a full moon because it was lit up like it was just a gift. It was incredible. And I've skied the canyon. I was there a couple days ago over in Alta. Ours is just as great. We don't have a Teton view, but in terms of that quality of skiing, it's phenomenal. I mean, I would almost like to see maybe less spent on signs for this town and more put into that. I've taken dozens of people skiing here, and they love it. So I'm a big proponent, and I'll scream and shout at the top of my lungs. I think it's phenomenal. I ski Star Valley Ranch too. Doesn't compare. As a matter of fact, I injured myself because it wasn't well groomed. And I think the grooming here is phenomenal. We blaze our own trails sometimes. It is absolutely the most incredible cross-country skiing. Outside of, the park too, which is great. You can't poo-poo the Grand Tetons, for 20 miles. Yeah. But it's amazing. And again, we did a full moon, not last month, but the month before. It was warm. It was like the most incredible night. I still can picture it. So I'm a fan. I'd like to see more spent, and maybe our own equipment or whatever you're doing is great, but maybe shift the budget around a little, make that more of a priority. That's just my opinion. So, yes, good. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Andrea?
I just have one little side note, Andrea Bircher. One piece that we're missing with cross-country ski trails, it gets a lot of use. It would be more use if somebody in this town rented skis. Maybe somebody with a winter rental business? I don't know.
We'll find somebody.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It's, you kind of have to partner it with something else like snowmobiles. But I think that with so many people that come here would love to utilize the trails, but there's nowhere to rent skis unless you go to Jackson. And I just, I've been trying to find.
We have gotten that request, so something to think about for sure.
Yeah, just something to increase the use and people who are here to utilize it.
For sure.
So that's all. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Maybe you could partner with one of the local ski shops, either Idaho Falls or Skinny Skis or any of those places in town that do yearly rentals. Maybe offer them, I don't know if it's subsidized or you give some sort of discount off of a yearly rental or something. But yeah, I don't know how much activity we get, like someone coming, a tourist needing skis to do that, but anyways.
Yeah. I think that business will have to educate itself on how many different brands of different skis it will have to carry just to make this happen, but. How about you? Got anything, Shannon?
All I know is that I point people in that direction all winter long. I mean, from the brewery, people are always asking where to go, how do I get there? That's probably the biggest thing is, how do I get there?
We are on Google Maps.
I would say, yeah, that's usually, it'd be cool if we had maybe a QR code or some kind of something that we could hand out because I do get asked all the time. And would love to have something that I can be like, here's exactly where to go instead of
Get your QR
you see them
code.
over there like directing traffic, trying to figure out where to send them. So,
That's good. I guess one of the things that I've, would always wonder in something like this is how many actually tourists does it bring in, because, my wife frequents this trail system all the time and brings our friends out and family that comes to visit and stuff like that, but are they actually coming back for the trail system? That's the question, but it's nice to hear that you guys are seeing out-of-state license plates in the parking lot and that you're getting people in your establishment asking for things to do. I know that people come to my establishment and ask for additional things to do. This would be a great recommendation, and we'd love to carry some skis in town to make it even a bigger thing, but.
There's no reason why like Cobblestone and Fine Saddle and all the other places can't have the same information you're being asked for in Melbourne to hand out to everybody. So when you do have known tourists at Melbourne or Fine Saddle or, not Melbourne, Cobblestone or whatever, you hand it in.
For sure. And it's one of those things where I think like if somebody comes in and the husband's out snowmobiling and the wife gets to go cross-country skiing and, it's kind of like you get to have all of it at once, and you get to appease the whole family, so. Anything else?
Trying to bring in at least our Facebook stats. Last I had looked, we had a reach of around 5,000, and most of our Facebook users, because that's all I can track, is 75% female, 25% male. We do have a reach in IF and in the Wasatch Front, along the Wasatch Front, because of the second homeowners here. So I know there's several people that reach out to me when I'm coming up from the cabin, how are the trails? So we do have a reach outside this valley that's an active reach.
And this budget, this dollar we're asking for, does that include, that doesn't include like the grooming on the bridge or the Grays River Road or anything like
It's
that?
strictly for Bouchon, so it's strictly for us to budget Bouchon in for next year twice a day. And I know their prices will increase like everything else, so I've added 12%. So it'd be up to, whatever I put there, $96,000, and we'd still have a 20% match
Yeah.
as an organization.
Is it something that would there be consideration to like, you know, find out what it would cost for Bushong to add the other areas in town that we would need some pathways to make it right, you know?
Yep, so it's all based on their schedule. Right now, they're, at least this year and last year, they're full, because I tried to get them to work on another area that someone was interested in. So it's all based on their schedule. Bouchong, it's $80 to come down here, and then $311 an hour to run their machine. If they have the time, I can't speak for them, but if they have the time, they've been very cordial to us, and if I could do 5 or 15K again, you know, with the lake the way it used to be, then I'd do that, but that would be up to Bouchon.
I would just love to see like the solution for the town be solved too, and, you know, we have a Jersey barrier there, but we have this, you know, terrible trail system most of the time with these whoops. It's like, let's not do things half, you know, let's, you know, have everything really nicely groomed in town during the winter time for all the visitors, so.
I will say that in our bylaws, it's not a must that we have to have a 20% match. If the board so wishes to do 100%, and that would free up more of our funds to purchase the implements that requires to take care of the whoops.
Fair enough. Anybody else?
Me again.
Sure.
I just have received a comment from a concerned citizen that a suggestion that we could put some signage up, much like we did with the snowmobile trails this year, to direct people to the cross-country ski trails. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Noted, and I hope to. I tried last year, and they were stolen within the first week.
I'd love to see some more business involvement in seeing like on our websites, whether it's adventure rentals or the hotels or whatever, saying, hey, this is what we have in town. This is one of the options you can do. So the husband knows to bring the wife with them and they can both do activities or whatnot, you know?
That brings me to my third point. As I said before, I was working on 3 applications. That third application, actually, we're working on a caricature type map of the town, both digital and paper map to go in the hotels. And this, again, this is just something that allows us, it frees up more money, so we're working on that as well, that, so somebody coming in can do, you know, on their phone, oh, you know, there's adventure rentals, there's Melvin, here's the trails, this is the map of Alpine. So yeah, we're also working on that.
As someone who uses this trail system all the time, we know how to get to it. Signage is important. I would like to see more permanent signs for sure. Like why we couldn't have a request made to the town of Alpine to fund signage for this, I think is kind of a no-brainer. So either Trails and Pathways figures out a way to do it, or we go to the town of Alpine to figure out how to do it. But I mean, we spent so much time on this already. You can tell it's very important. So I think that's an easy ask for the town of Alpine. So.
That is so important because 6 people that live in Alpine had no idea where it was, and I had to take them. And I'm the newbie in town. So I think that's huge. Again, a better sign, maybe, and work on that. But I'm not telling you how to spend your money, or where, but I would be. And you know what they do over in the canyon on the Drigg side is they have a bench that is in the middle. So like when you're halfway up the canyon, that bench is always being used. People bring their lunch, they sit there, they have a bite or a protein bar, drink some water, and then they continue. Like just a bench makes a big deal, like kind of in the middle, and it's always being used. So just FYI.
So a couple of things. Our kiosk at the start of the trailhead has a bench. We have the warming hut that has a table and chairs inside there that you can more than welcome to take out as long as you put it back in. And finally, yes, I agree. We are a 501c3 corporation for everything out there. We are taking any tax deductible donations. We are totally donation based and volunteer driven.
Not to mention summer.
Oh, yes.
We are a year-round organization, and as soon as the forest permits my 12-mile trail system out the Grays, that'll be fantastic.
It keeps going. But yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody. We'll go ahead and do a motion to approve first reading grant application for ATAP for grooming the trails twice a week. Requested amount $9,600. Can I get a motion?
So if, that means if we do this now, then there's no putting extra money aside for advertising or anything else, so.
Anytime up to the third reading. So you can vote it in as it is now, and then for the second reading, you can add.
Okay,
It's just once it reaches the third, third is the third and final reading. Nothing happens after that.
okay. Okay. So I need to make a motion to pass it? Okay, I make a
Yep.
motion to pass.
All right, second. Everybody approve? Aye.
Yes. Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for the kind words and the support. It does mean a lot. Okay. Alpine Trails. What do we got next? Is it TU or
Star Valley Trout Unlimited?
TU? All right. So we have a motion for approval on first reading for Star Valley Trout Unlimited chapter for their second annual Fly Fishing Film Festival, requested in the amount of $5,352. Who would like to talk?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us. My name is Tom Mickey. I'm on the board of the Star Valley chapter of Trout Unlimited. What would you like to know?
Well, tell us a little bit about your vision.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit about IF4 first, and that is essentially the event we're putting on. So IF4 is a film festival. Company accepts short films from any professional photographers or videographers, amateurs, fishermen all around the world. For example, this particular show has folks fishing in Russia, Iceland, across the U.S. There's a few other foreign locations, but it's, for fishing enthusiasts, it's a very exciting set of films, roughly 10 or 12 films. So what we're in part asking for reimbursement for is the licensing fee to license the one-time showing of this series of films at the Civic Center. And Trout Unlimited chapters all across the country use this as a fundraising technique. It's been very successful. We're trying to drive a little business here in Star Valley. They do this show in Jackson. They do it in Idaho Falls. And a lot of the folks from the valley are driving there. We want to turn that around. We want to have all the Star Valley folks stay right here, but we also want to pull in some of those folks from Jackson and Idaho Falls and other locations. It's a pretty big event. We've got, just to give you an idea of the support that we've received so far, sponsors, we sold out 8 sponsorship tables almost immediately. That was within, 2 weeks? Four Pines Physical Therapy, Bank of Star Valley, Grays River Sports, Orvis, the Orvis, Oxbow Anglers, West Bank Sanitation, the Tree and Landscape Company, Trilipiderm, Star Valley Health, Ferry Peak Women's Health, donors, and this could include cash and or raffles, Grays River Sports, Ken Takata Photography, Oxbow Anglers Guide Service, Orvis Jackson Hole, Astoria Park Conservancy, Driftwood Pizza, Stio, is that how you pronounce that? Mile High Cajun, Melvin Brewing, Jenkins Lumber, Alpine Ace Hardware, Subway, Brulum's, Lower Valley Energy. We've had 6 individuals, I think their names are in the application, but who have donated directly. So we've got tremendous support, and this is our first time to do this. And I think one of the benefits for the tourism board is that you'll be able to see the level of interest and participation that we have this year. We're obviously asking for funding for next year for the second, what will be our regular annual film festival. So we're very optimistic about what we're doing and the support that we've received from the community. And just, if I could, just a little bit about what TU does. So all of the proceeds from these types of events go to streamside water restoration projects. Trout Unlimited has seen the value of the water in this particular valley and hired a fellow by the name of Tanner Belknap, who is a full-time TU employee, and he is the Salt River watershed manager. And he is working directly with our chapter. The funds from these types of events go directly into those projects. He showcased in a project they just finished down in the Etna area, over $900,000. And you would really be impressed with the techniques that they use. We're dealing primarily with shoreline erosion. It can be cattle, it can be all sorts of things, but they're restoring those shorelines, stabilizing the river. And of course, if we can provide clean water upstream, we're going to provide clean water downstream here in the town of Alpine. So, other questions?
Where's the film festival this year?
We're going to do it right here at your Civic Center.
What are the dates?
It's April the 20th.
I'm available.
We have a big banner at the junction there on the Star Valley Health property, and we have flyers all around town. I have some more flyers.
And we've got over $5,000 in raffle prizes, including if you're a fly fisherman, a Winston Air 2 fly rod, which is about an $1,100 fly rod. So some very nice raffle items. The folks up at Jackson share with us that they sell most of their tickets within a week or two of the actual event. As I mentioned, we've already sold out 8 tables of 8, so that's 64. We've sold another 15 tickets, so we're up at 79 right now, and we're still a few weeks out. So we anticipate getting a lot of our sales here in the next few weeks, and we're hopeful that we'll have at least 150 folks out for this event.
What do you think you bring in with those sales for this year?
We shared a spreadsheet with you, our budget, and we're looking at total income. We had, this would be for next year's event, so an estimation, but your grant funding of $5,300, table sponsorships of a couple of thousand, ticket sales of a couple of thousand, but right around $10,000.
You guys have anything?
I don't, thank you.
I've got a few, and it's going to sound like I'm going to beat you up a little bit, but that's not my intent. So looking over your budget here, you have a net profit of $3,123. So what my concern is if the funds are going to stream restoration, which I can draw a straight line from those hotel beds get filled with fishermen because we have a good stream restoration, and I want the stream restoration. It'd be more beneficial if we just gave you $5,000 without doing a movie. I like the movie, I want the movie. So with that said, has there been any talks with, say, maybe Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation to like make a weekend out of it or something to kind of boost that ROI? So if you don't have this board, how can you, because I mean, obviously these are fixed costs with tickets or with licensing fees and music, entertainment, which, and like I say, sounds like I'm beating you up, but I'm not. I love this project, but I also want to help it stay sustainable.
Understood. So a little background, the Star Valley chapter of Trout Unlimited is very recently reconstituted, so we haven't been in business very long. We shared with you a timeline of how we came about sort of developing this idea. We've really only been talking about it for 3.5 months now. So, and this being the very first one, my answer to your question is no, we have not investigated other ways to expand this, but that's certainly going to be on our radar. And that's a great idea to turn it into a weekend event. We could do something else beyond a film festival. We could, I don't know what that is,
Right. Nor
standing
do
here
I.
tonight, but absolutely. Yeah, we could do our own version of the one fly that they do up in Jackson Hole.
I worked for Jack Dennis for several years.
But I think I understand where you're going with this. If we could drive an event that were over a couple of days, then folks who are coming in from farther away are then going to utilize the lodging services here in town and drive some additional revenue for businesses and tax revenue and so forth.
Right.
So great idea. We will absolutely investigate that.
All right.
Well, and I think if you got on the Town of Alpine Facebook page, you would get a lot more traffic. Because I have to tell you, every time I try to read your banner, I can't read it. So I'm thinking that if you move it in where it's a slower mile per hour, you might have more people just pay attention to it. Monica put it on the Town of Alpine. Oh, she did?
Yeah, I've been posting it too. I'm trying to get it out there.
I was just going to make a comment real quick. As a fly fisherman and a long-term employee of Jack Dennis Fly Fishing Shop in Jackson, growing up in Jackson, I see the benefit what this organization does with boots on the ground. And so this is great, and I'm glad Alpine's supporting. I think your suggestions on how we can make it a couple-day event or, bring people to put their heads down in the pillows as well would be a great benefit to this, but I'm fully support this as well. Thank you.
And we also,
Sure, please. Barry.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
the
you
kids at
got
home need
it.
to hear you.
my name's Barry Buholtz, and I was just going to say it's also for community events to bring the community together. Just like even if you're not a fisherman, all our raffle prizes are some amazing ones. It's going to be great food, great beer, and sodas, of course. I think that I forgot my main point that I was going to say, but I have stage fright. Anyway, I'll think of it in a second, but appreciate the ideas, for sure.
And then I had one more follow-up. On your application, you're a nonprofit right now. Do you have plans to be a 501c3?
I didn't know there's a difference.
Don't know the answer to that, but I can ask.
Okay. Anything else? Can I get a motion to approve first reading grant application for Star Valley Trout Unlimited chapter for their second annual fly fishing film festival fundraiser in the amount of up to $5,352?
Motion to approve the first reading of the grant application for reimbursement funding for the Star Valley Trout Unlimited chapter for the second annual fly fishing film festival fundraiser requesting $5,352.
Second.
Second? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
you,
you.
guys. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to the film on the 20th.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, we do not have anybody from Star Valley Arts Council, but do you want it, Mr. Mayor? Great. So we have our first one from them, what we got? Oil Painting Portrait Workshop, sponsored by Star Valley Arts Council, and their request of $2,000, as a total cost of $6,200. Mr. Mayor, please.
Yes, so this came up recently. They have a new director of the Star Valley Arts Council, and they want to figure out how they can bring more events to Alpine, this side of the valley. They see the growth in Alpine and the, for lack of a better term, the dollars, the nice houses, they see this as a place where they can really make a big impact. This oil painting portrait workshop is the first of many things that they want to do here. They gave us a list of like 20 ideas they had, and not that we were picking and choosing, but there was a few that kind of rose to the top. This, of course, is something that's easily done. We also want to do a mural someplace in town, one of those cool murals that people go and take their picture in front of, and it says, hashtag Alpine, Wyoming, or whatever. So those are some of the other ideas that have been thrown around. But this one in particular I think it would be very well attended. So I don't have any of the specific information on numbers that they are quoted. That might be in the application, but.
Kind of. I'll get with them. The questions I had is, so they have the instructor for, it looks like a week's worth of lodging, so is the class then a week?
So it's supposed to be like a very intensive, week-long, come and figure out how to paint portraits or, landscapes or whatever. So it's very intense. It's not just going paint by number with them. It's not a sip and paint. You're not, trust me, I'm sure they will be more than happy to break a bottle open if they can or whatever. But this is supposed to be very intense, down and dirty, figure out how to, really get into whatever their specific type of painting is. So.
Gotcha. And then, nope, that was it for that one. You guys have anything?
So they expect 30% of attendees to be non-local, but we don't have a number on, an estimate on how many attendees. Is that the right? Okay.
That's it.
We should definitely
First
ask for
ever-
that.
I was wondering, oil's painting,
Yeah,
and for a whole
I'll
week,
reach
it's
out
very
and invite them
specific.
for a
Yep.
second reading.
Sounds good.
So we'll reach out, invite them for second reading. But if I can get a motion to approve on first reading for grant application, oil painting portrait workshop sponsored by Star Valley Arts Council, requested of $2,000.
Motion to approve first reading grant application of oil painting portrait workshop sponsored by Star Valley Arts Council, requested $2,000, matches the $6,200.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And then their second one, first reading, grant application for Sonic Butterfly, sponsored by Star Valley Arts Council. Request is $8,000 with a match of $1,000, so total cost of $9,000.
So I've kind of heard about this one as well. This Sonic Butterfly is literally, they make a musical instrument with long cords coming from a building or something, and it goes, I don't know what the distance is, 100 feet or something. And then someone comes and plays music with this long thing. I think it includes like a light show and things of that nature. This is something that we thought would bring a lot of people to the town to see this musician. I don't know too much more about it. And again, you should ask them to, maybe there's a YouTube.
There is a YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a few, most of them are indoors. There's one outdoors, so that was another question I had for them.
I think they want to do it outdoor.
Yeah.
So it would be in our park, and it sounds like it's a really cool show, so.
So would they have like a backup plan in case, because of the weather? gets
Great idea.
western around here?
Great, maybe Andrea knows some of those things. Do you know?
I know some things.
Okay.
Andrea Burchard, town of Alpine. So I've been talking to Lexi about this, Lexi Weber, the director of Star Valley Arts. She wants to have it the weekend of August 17th, which is also the same weekend as the car show. And she's combining it with a art festival. So I think between the art festival, the car show will be at the Civic Center on Saturday. She would do the Sonic Butterfly Friday night, most likely at the Civic Center. And then the art festival will be out on the lawn in front of Bank of Jackson Hole Friday and Saturday. So we'll be bringing in quite a few people as it is. And then this is just another draw. But it's like a 5-foot long strings. It's a harp and that they play. And it's kind of different music presentation than we generally have here, but it looks pretty amazing. And it does come with a light show. So, but as far as weather, I don't know what happens. But they do this like all year long in multiple locations, so I'm sure they have a contingency plan.
At least on the YouTube videos, they have, it's not just the harp, it's a full band.
Oh, okay.
There's a drummer, fiddle, I think a keyboardist, and I saw maybe another guitarist or something. But the main deal is this chords that basically go from one stretch of room to the other, and lady plays it, and kind of new age-ish, but with the light show. It's definitely a spectacle.
Yeah, a spectacle. But it's smarter than to piggyback on some other events so that it's just going to draw people in for multiple reasons, and, you know, they'll want to check out all the different things that are happening.
Cool, thank you.
Anything else, Dave or Shannon? All right, we'll get them back for second reading, but in the meantime, can I get a motion to approve? Oh, sorry, Shay.
And I know nothing of this, so I am going to look it up on YouTube. I don't know, it's just hard to see $8,000 for one night. I guess that's my only concern. I'd rather you guys groom more or different things like that, and nothing against it. I'm super excited for Arts Council to come to Alpine. I am just nervous. 8,000 in one night is a lot, so just.
Look at it on YouTube, it is a
I will,
spectacle.
okay. I guess I am nervous
had
for the
same
weather,
concern.
too.
I said to Andrea, I'm like, is it better just to give them $8,000 for the promotion of an arts fair? You know, to kind of get people out for the arts festival and advertise that way again.
Yeah.
Just because our thing does require advertising, a good amount of dollars to go to that.
Yeah.
That was my concern.
Yeah,
as
I mean, that's my only comment. I mean, I think it's great. I'm excited that we're getting more of this dynamic in our valley, and power to her and all she's doing. But yeah, that's a lot of money for one day.
Well, obviously, tourism board looks into the biggest bang for their buck on this stuff, and we'll definitely evaluate all that.
Anybody else? All right, so can I get a motion, approve on first reading, grant application for Sonic Butterfly sponsored by Star Valley Arts Council, requested up to $8,000.
Motion to approve the first reading, grant application for Sonic Butterfly sponsored by the Star Valley Arts Council, requested $8,000.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So currently, let's see. If everything passes through to second reading, if everything does pass, depending on where we find out, right now we're totaling $131,000 for these projects. Obviously, that would be more than their normal year going forward. The welcome signs seems to be fitting that long-term sustainable project that I like, but we'll see as they all go into second reading. Thank you, everybody. You're more than welcome to stick around. We do have some more business to go through as far as our, what do we have? We have our logo and state board training, which is always fun. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Let's see.
Thanks, Melody.
Melody's rocking it.
This
We
one?
don't have a logo right now.
I'll reach out to you soon about
That's
the
the
beer,
town.
by the
We're
way.
doing
I have a
our own
whole
logo
stack
for
ready for
travel
you
and
of
tourism.
cans, so, yep, I got you. Gotcha. Some Roadhouse stuff. I got you.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Sure.
you'll have to ask the mayor.
Okay, so T&T's gonna have separate.
Yeah, because that,
They do up in Jackson.
right, and that's part of most travel and tourism requirements is whoever we give money to, they have to have our logo on their advertising, banners, whatever. Yep.
So just so you know, that's retired.
Is it, okay, because
Yeah, that one's
I have
retired.
everyone's business cards and they're all different.
It's the same logo, just different colors. It's in that newspaper article, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Have fun, but thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Bye.
So we'll get into logos. Thoughts?
These are the logos.
Those are what Melody's been working on so far.
Awesome.
The only bad thing is if the welcome sign has the new logo-ish thing that the mayor had commissioned, would a little one in the corner be kind of weird?
As long as it says travel and tourism.
I mean, I like it.
I like it, actually,
The one on,
this one.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, just it shows the confluence, Ferry Peak, kind of,
It's
to me,
a-
that's Alpine's identity.
It's a logo that the mayor had made for our new website.
What's about you doing the, does that mean you're like?
Oh, well, I think the gray with the white background's a little,
That's what I was like.
little
might
close to each other,
like
like,
topple
might be, like, I don't know,
Do a
is it gonna be a
different
white
color.
background?
Different
You can
color.
go in and change the color. The one, like I changed the water to blue,
Uh-huh.
but the one that he got is just black and gray and white.
Is it?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a color thing, because I like that it's totally recognizable to all of us, that range, you know what I mean? But maybe, I agree with you, it's just kind of,
Snow's a
On
little bit on
colors.
it or something, and
Yeah.
the light's weird, it's like, I don't know if you'll be able to see that contrast enough, but
agreed,
I think we're close, you know, I don't think it's bad or anything.
agreed.
Would you think having the same viewpoint, maybe scrunched in a little bit more and then with some different coloring? Or something just completely different, like going with maybe something like this, but with
But with that
a
range.
Ferry Peak with kind of a range or something?
Yeah,
What are your thoughts? And these are just two, if you,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we don't have to, we're not deciding tonight, we're
Okay.
just spitballing it,
Okay.
brainstorming. If you guys wanna just go home and, you know, search out something or design something your own and share it with us, then, you know,
Just don't
we'll be
steal it.
discussing it all the way.
All
We'll get
right.
busted.
I mean, you know, with some blue sky on here, like, you know, how blue sky on this one, you can see the mountains better.
Yeah.
You know, so like you add some blue sky up here and maybe a few trees, you know, I think that one's gonna get pretty close, you know, but I can
Needs a
think it
little-
over a little bit more too. Whatever you guys.
Does anyone know how to do that? I mean, I learned how to make the water blue.
Supposedly,
I kill that all day. I might be able to put a sun in there too, I don't know.
I meant to ask, the county, the meetings I've been sitting in with them, supposedly, like, they're using AI for putting their bylaws together, like, they'll feed in a bunch of, like, half a dozen different bylaws, and then hit AI and put, you know, we're Lincoln County, and AI comes up with something, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'll just put it off AI and do graphic design, and it'll spit it out. I'm like, is it really that simple? Again, we're, you know.
I mean, yeah, because we're old, we're
Se-
like, no, what?
74
What's
crowd.
this now?
And do you have to then copyright it or?
Well, yeah, you definitely have to
yeah.
copyright it afterwards. I don't know, but I don't know if this, I'm not familiar with AI software right now. I haven't delved into that at all. That was something I meant to ask them of like, where are you,
I just
what
learned
software are
Canva.
you using? What are you getting? And will this kill me in my sleep?
Yep. Gonna keep me up in it.
But
Okay, so we have time to play with.
Yeah, we have
these.
time to play with
I would
that.
like
Oh.
to
Say,
Play around with these ideas a little bit.
Make up your own, whatever you want.
yeah, exactly. Take them home, make up your own. Get the kids out, have them color some stuff.
Cause I like too, even when we were doing like the recreation, when we made up that one, it was kinda like to show like you could ski and you could boat, you
Right.
could like, it kinda showed all those emblems that you could do all of those things here too, which I kinda like.
Kind of the representative
Yeah,
snowmobiling,
so there's like all
skiing.
year round,
fishing.
there's activities
Yep.
here.
True. Cool. Well, I got some ideas. I'll put them together and send them in or something.
Okay.
Cool.
And then, last but not least, I believe, correct? You guys, by sitting on this board, and it's not me, you can blame your legislatures. They have mandated that anybody who sits on a state board, specifically if anyone's in charge of any budgeting, has to go through board training certification. Luckily for you guys, it's not near as bad as it was for us, because we had to sit through 8 hours of this. For you guys, and I meant to have you look into it, it's anywhere from an hour course to a 2-hour course, and it depends on who. I know for my recreation board, they had, like, you get somebody from a director from the state. Board training, here it is. So they got somebody out of the Department of Agriculture. And you join a Zoom meeting, and this Zoom meeting, maybe I'll see if we can jump in on this as well. It's April 15th at 6 PM. I don't know if that works for you guys. And I don't know if it'll work for these people either, but I'll see if we can jump in on it, and I'll send you the Zoom link.
It's a Monday.
Is it a Monday?
What was the date again? I'm sorry.
The 15th of April,
Okay. At what time?
6 PM. But yeah, you jump in. I don't know exactly what it'll be for you guys, but it's only an hour or two. Depends on, I've had mixed messaging from different people. Like I say, ours was 8 hours. And it was, yeah, it was like, I got the intent out of it, like, okay, you're right, because people just, they weren't educated when they'd come to public office. And I got, okay, yeah, you gotta get educated, but I didn't feel the training that we went through met that education.
You didn't feel you were educated?
I just didn't feel that, like, I felt that they need to educate us differently.
Okay, all right. So to put this in my calendar tentatively, what time was it?
6 PM.
6 PM, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Then you want to make a date for the next one?
Yep, that's our last and final deal.
Okay.
So we'll need a May date. Well, we don't, I mean, it could still be an April date if we want, but if we want to do a May date, we at least have to have 2 more readings as, well, we got to have at least 1 more reading, if not 2.
Okay. Doesn't matter to me if it's in the evening, I'll make it work.
Are Thursdays generally good for most?
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Other than next week, my soonest Thursday is the 9th of May.
Okay.
I have to check my calendar at home to just be 100%, but I think that's fine.
Okay.
If you really want to tentatively make that the date.
After that, it'd be the 23rd of May. So, yeah, check, we'll shoot for the 9th?
Is the 23rd Memorial Day weekend?
It is.
Yes, it is. So I lied. 23rd will not work for me. We'll be leaving.
Well, maybe the 9th. Does that work for you, Shannon?
Yeah, 9th works for me. I
Okay.
can make that work.
9th? All right, great.
6 PM again?
Same bat time, same bat channel?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll, my intent was to only be an hour. I failed,
Tonight?
yeah.
Even I was like, really, an hour?
time, maybe.
Okay.
All right, so we'll meet May 9th at 6 PM.
Excellent.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
That's it. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, everybody.